They introduced free market transformations. It's the only reason that China has emerged as powerful economically as it is.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? You've graduated from Columbia. When did you graduate?
January of 2000, last year.
I got to ask
Last
you
year.
again. I got to ask you again. Wasn't there at least one course that you took there,
Yeah.
taught by someone that taught you what you wanted to learn?
One course. Where
You
even
should know. Like if there was, you'd know. You'd
I
know.
I knew I liked about the evolution class about how the humans we became who we are. Going through Homo erectus and like have this all the humanity journey. But then, of course, they always had a political correctness element always in the textbook everywhere. So there's not. I like the economic classes a lot because it really helped me understand how the world worked in some other ways. But then, of course, it's all about like the payment, gender inequality, payments, blah blah, all that like macroeconomics has that thing. So I mean, I think it filtered out. It was good, but I don't think it was worth of that amount of money, especially, and the effort to go. You can't take them on like online these
Look, I
days.
had professors. I had lots of professors who were great. Like
Mm.
I went to this little college when I was 18, 17, I guess, because that's when I went to college, and it was just an adventure for me.
Mm.
I got the people who taught me. I had an English professor. Um, his name escapes me at the moment, unfortunately. Dennis Wheeler was my political science professor. I remember that from 30 years ago. I can't remember my English professor's name, unfortunately. I had a philosophy professor named Longenbach, like 6 or 7 professors. And it was a small college. It wasn't an elite institution. And they loved to teach. And I had a group of friends that loved to learn, and it was great. Like, it was great. I learned a tremendous amount. I learned that I didn't know how to write, and they taught me. Robin Burke, that was the English professor's name. He gave me a D on my first paper. It shocked me to death because I'd got good marks in high school and I didn't know what I was doing. And he pointed it out and helped me learn to write. And these people were very serious. We walked through Plato and Aristotle and Hobbes and Rousseau and the full breadth of Western philosophy. And it was exciting. And there was no politically correct nonsense. And that doesn't mean that it didn't cover the political spectrum. A lot of my professors were democratic socialists, not all of them, but plenty of them were. So they covered the political spectrum. So, and I would say too, when I was at Harvard and at the University of Toronto, for that matter, that there were no shortage of professors who were providing genuine education that wasn't contaminated with propagandistic nonsense. And so I'm stunned to hear that you can't bring to mind a single example from your 4 years that where you got. See, you should have been exposed to people that had the same effect on you as George Orwell's Animal Farm. At least people who walked you through literature of that caliber and who had respect for it. At minimum, you should have got that.
Yeah, but they instead told me not to read Jane or Jane Eyre because they had a colonial mindset that's gonna brainwash you, without you knowing it. So the problems of reading the Western classics is they were all like bigots and racist and believed in slavery. So it was because
It's an amazingly it's a lie that's so profound that it's absolutely staggering. It's staggering to me to hear again, even though I've been watching this for the last 20 years, watching it develop. It's staggering to me that that this can actually be the case, that's what's taught about this tradition that actually produced the first emergence from slavery that's ever existed anywhere.
I know, it's just like in North Korea, history was forgotten. Like our history begins when Kim Il Sung was born. and everything before. We don't even know what Big Bang was. We don't even know who Shakespeare is. Like we don't know who Romeo and Juliet is. And everything was forgotten other than Kim's revolutionary history. And when I came out, what I loved about was that the continuation of life, that life before Kim's. That was amazing. There was things beforehand, way beforehand. It was very humbling to those people who thought through things. And you were talking about Plato. I read the Plato's on love and how he brings these people talk about discussing what love is each mean for them. And it gave me so much like just insights, you know, to understanding humanity. But now,
yeah, well, that was kind of the point.
I know, but going to Colombia, the first thing is like, who loves Jane? Or it's like I said like yes, but do you know the problem is like no. Do you know that she believed in all those like ideas back then of colonializing other people, countries, and how that embedded in her literature work? And that's what like whoa. I mean, I mean, so they expect everyone in the history to think the same way they do right now at this point, the exact same time. And if
Yeah,
they
which
don't,
which is to basically memorize, 20 platitudes that anyone intelligent can memorize in 15 minutes, and then to dismiss the entire world of knowledge. These books, when you were reading Orwell, and when you were in that little room in North Korea or in South Korea, and you had all those books, what were you reading? So Orwell affected you. Who else you've read now? Who's affected you?
it's in a lot of ways. I remember the Siddhartha, the novel is a fictional novel.
Hesse.
Yeah, that book really gave me a lot of comfort and to think my how to think of my own journey and how what kind of things I need to focusing on. Like I could be focusing on, oh my god, what I went through, that was very horrible, or what could I focusing on. So I read a lot of classical books actually. And I think now I'm thinking about it was actually a good thing. I didn't pick up these political correctness books, but rather going time way before then, like 18th century, a lot of literatures. So I think a lot of books shaped me in many different ways. And now till this day, I was just saying like reading your book was, of course, you heard that many million times, but uh, it was, people say like you read to know that you are not alone. And that's the thing, when I was reading your book, it just reminded me of that, the struggle, the shared struggle that we have on earth, regardless you're born in North Korea, in America,